Hello everyone. Today I just want to make a quick video about 5 underrated Bryan moves that you might not be using in Tekken 7. So I'll just talk about the properties of the move, what makes the move good, and how to apply it. And before you say, oh, Tekken 8 is coming out in like a month, why are you making this? Most of these moves are pretty much exactly the same in Tekken 8. The only one that I can think of that is really different is Sidestep 1, which we'll talk about later in the video. But to start off, I just want to talk about Bryan's back 3, first of all. This is the first move that we're going to go over. So let's talk about the properties really quick. It's a 19 frame mid. It has really bad tracking both sides, but it has really good range. It's plus on block if you hold forward after to go into the Sidestep extension. Most Bryan players are just using this for combos, and they're not really actually using it in neutral at all. But what makes the move so good is that it has really exceptional range. It actually has more range, I believe, than even Bryan's 3+4. It has really fast recovery on whiff because of the extension. I'm sorry, the transition into stance. So if you see, back 3, we can cancel this super quick and we're already blocking, right? So it's extremely hard to whiff punish this, especially if you're using like a high attack, like, a jet upper or an electric or something like that, or even like a generic DF2. It won't launch. So just to give you a quick example of how fast this actually is, if you cancel it properly. So you can see like how fast this move recovers. There I actually got it, but that's a pretty like unrealistic speed to actually be whip punishing something. It's even harder if you're trying to do a slower mid. So you can see how fast that recovers. As we said earlier, it's plus on block, although since you're locked into this Sidestep transition, if you hold forward, you can't actually really do much with your +1. The fast move you have is wall sending 3 at I-12, so it will lose to just like a jab mash, but we're not really using this as like a pressure tool or anything. Because we have this +1, it makes opponents hesitant to press afterwards. So a lot of how I like to use it is just back 3 cancel into anything that you want really if your opponent's respecting it. If your opponent is mashing after back 3, this will stop everything. Back 3 1+2 if you do it immediately. And this is also safe on block at -6. So if your opponent is respecting it, you kind of have leeway to do what you want. If your opponent's not respecting it, you have an easy option to stop them, right, with that. We talked about the recovery, we talked about the range, really good. So how do we really use this? So I just like to use it as a really long range approach tool because we can kind of, manipulate spacing a lot with this move because we'll be out here. Okay, our opponent is, kind of looking for a 3+4 or something, potentially something to whiff punish. Okay, now I'm in, your face, +1, right? You have to make a decision now at close range. So it's a really good, space manipulating button to get in quick, has really good range. It's really good for baiting whiff punishes, like I said earlier. What I like to do a lot with it, especially against Mishimas, is just do the back 3 into this forward and let it go. And then if you see them try to electric whiff punish you, you just wall sending 1 and you get a free launch. So really good button, really good long range approach tool, especially at the end of the round. I like to do it if an opponent is coming in. On counter hit also you get free follow-ups on this. It's a bit hard to confirm, but if you can counter hit confirm this, you get a free wall sending 3 on counter hit for 32 damage. Also, it's a little bit harder, but you can also do crouch cancel 1-4 for 35 damage. That's the most damage you can get off of this. As you can see on counter hit, it's +12, and you actually get the true +12 on counter hit. It's also +12 on hit, but you don't get anything. But on counter hit, you get true +12. So you can do wall sending 3, or you can do crouch cancel 1-4 for extra damage. So that's back 3. Really good. Second move I want to talk about is down back 2. So down back 2, just go over the properties again really quick. I-15 -6 on block. Again, really good range and really good tracking. So if I just make him stand guard into sidestep, beat sidestep left, sidestep right, you can get around it. But after a move that's a bit more plus, like back one, it becomes harder to step. Or even, hatchet. So this is a really good move to stop stepping. It has a really low hitbox, probably the lowest hitbox of any of Bryan's mids, I believe. So it's good for stuffing, evasive moves, things like that. So this is, your go-to check for evasive stuff. Like against Eddie's relaxed stance, you can float him out with this and you get a combo. Again, most Bryan players are only using this as like, combo filler, and they're not thinking about how to apply it in a real match. But it's a really, really good mid check. And it's also, like you saw earlier, it is +8 on hit, and it leaves you pretty close up, so you can pretty much do whatever you want. Don't be dissuaded by it being 15 and -6 on block. It doesn't really matter that much. Again, it's more of like a mid to check, kind of like a Paul down 1 or something like that. Really good hitbox, good frames on hit. It's a little bit slower than a standard mid check, but it's not meant to be used like a generic down forward 1 or something like that. It's more, checking movement, checking evasion, things like that. So this should be one of your go-to mids, especially against evasive characters. Super plus on hit. Basically use it like any other mid check you would want to use to beat evasion and things like that. So pretty simple move, but really, really good, really effective. The next move I want to talk about is Bryan's down forward 4. So again, just go over the properties really quick. This is a 23 frame, homing mid, safe on block at -5. On hit, you get a free mid soccer, free knockdown here. So this does pretty good damage. It's 23 damage and then 18 on the mid soccer. So what is that? I'm terrible at math. 23 plus 18, 41, right? So 41 damage, safe mid, really, really good. You get really good Oki off this knockdown too. You can actually do back 3 here if they get up backwards. You have to dash up a little bit farther than I'm doing right now, but you don't get anything free from the back 3, but basically you get a free mix-up here between back 3 and like any low that you want to do. Back 3 will hit them if they get up, the low will hit them if they stay down, etc, etc. Pretty simple Oki situation here, but the reason that this move is really good is because it's a really similar speed and a similar animation to hatchet kick. So if your opponent is playing pretty reactive and trying to deal with hatchet kicks a lot, down forward 4 is a really good option to stop them from doing that. Also, any safe homing mid that's not like insanely slow is pretty good, especially when it does 41 damage and gives you really good Oki. So this is definitely a move that you should be adding to your arsenal, especially if you're doing a lot of hatchet kicks and you're trying to mask the animation a little bit. You can kind of see how it looks a little bit like it. It tricks people a lot, especially people that are playing very reactive. So not too much to talk about with down forward 4. Just a good way to, keep your offense a bit tighter and not get stepped as much. And again, it's safe. It's only -5, so you can mash afterwards if you want. So again, I don't really see a lot of Bryan players, mid-level Bryan players using this move too much, but I think it's really good. And, at the wall, you get this knockdown, you can get taunt Oki from this. So there are definitely a lot of applications for this, and I think it's a really, really good move that you should be using to, like I said, stop stepping, mix up with hatchet kick, stuff like that. Not much to talk about with that move, pretty standard, but it's really good. The next move I want to talk about is Bryan down 4. So I have an entire video on down 4 and why it's really good, but down 4 is an I-15 low. It's 0 on hit. It has really good tracking to both sides, and it has really good spacing on hit. So you see they get knocked back a lot. So against most characters, knocking them to this range is going to be pretty good because this is kind of the range that you want to play at, and a lot of characters are not as good at fighting at this range as you are. So we can do 3+4s, we can do back 1s if we want to press our offense. We can even do hatchets. The 0 on hit gives us a lot to play with, especially due to the fact that with this spacing, a lot of your retaliation is going to whiff. Your fast down forward 1s, your jabs, your magic 4s, whatever. You're trying to take this 0 you know, frame situation for yourself, Bryan can really manipulate that if you have a good read on what your opponent's going to do, or if you just sit there and wait, you know. Again, like I said, you can push your offense, but playing with that pushback is also really, really good. It's only -11 on block, which is really, really good. And due to the pushback, try to space it properly. Like, if you block it from, like, way out here, your punish is going to whiff. So you can easily jet up for that if you're trying to set up safe down fours. That might sound daunting, but a lot of characters do stuff like this. Ganryu, safe down forward threes, you know, all kinds of characters like that that try to set up their lows to be safe. It's not so difficult once you start trying it, and this can be really, really, really annoying for your opponent to deal with, because most Bryan players are way too focused on like hatchet and, you know, slower moves, but this does 13 damage. You can really stack these and just get, you know, basically chip damage, moving around the screen, doing down fours, you know, annoying your opponent with that and all your mid pokes. And again, really simple move, but something that I don't see a lot of mid-level Bryan players using, and I think it's definitely something you guys should be trying to use more. Also, against Elisa and Master Raven, for some reason their wall standing fours whiff on this low every single time. And this low is literally safe against both of those characters. They have to low parry it, or, you know, they can't do anything. So, really abusable against those characters. Just a little note with that move. So, yeah. Down 4 is really good. You know, 0, pushback on hit, pushback on block. You can set up the whiff punishes here. You can set up for counter hits here. You can, you know, set up your own offense here. You can do pretty much whatever you want. 0 on hit. So, that's down 4. Next move I want to talk about is Bryan's Sidestep 1. I see a lot of low-level Bryan players using this move, and then they kind of just, like, stop. This move is really, really good for a couple of reasons that I'm going to talk about here. So, Bryan Sidestep 1, it's 17 frames, pretty fast, -5 on block, and it is a launcher on hit. The combo off of this does a lot of damage, too. The reason that this move is so good is because it has so much range. See, I'm all the way out here, like I'm almost at range 3, and this move is still hitting. Maybe it will hit from 3. Yeah, it even hits from literally range 3, which is crazy. So the application for this move is fairly simple. You know, it's a really good keep out tool. If your opponent is trying to, you know, dash block in, you can clap them with Sidestep 1. Get 71 damage, maybe wall. Obviously it's safe on block. People aren't really ducking this on a read. Most people are like looking for mock kick from this range, so maybe they'll duck your Sidestep 1, but it's pretty rare. The biggest risk with this move is if you whip it, you're pretty screwed. But once you get a hang on like the, you know, the range for this move, you kind of learn to play at like, you know, range 2.8, 2.7, stuff like that, and you can set this move up to be you know, used at like that max range where people want to come in, clap them with Sidestep 1. They start second guessing their approach. You know, like I said, it's pretty easy to whiff punish, but most of the time you should be getting this move blocked. It's also a pretty good panic button. If you're, you know, up close, range 0, you don't know what to do, you know, you can throw this out on a read, like, you know, let's say like Bryan's doing like back 1 into down 4 2, whatever. If I want to be lazy and not go for like a sidestep launch, I can just go for like a Sidestep 1 and, you know, kill him for that. You know, I could be solid and do jet upper, but, you know, sometimes I'm lazy and I'm just like, dude, fuck you, Sidestep 1. So, Sidestep 1's really good. It's a safe Sidestep launcher that's faster than most Sidestep launchers that are like, you know, in this category, like a Ganryu Sidestep 1 or something like that. It's pretty fast. The combo does a lot of damage. It has insane range. And it also has really good tracking to the right, which is generally the range that you want to move against Bryan. So, you can see it's just clapping the hell out of me right now. Obviously, if your opponent's doing like Sidestep guard, they can get away from it, but yeah, this move is really exceptional. I think one of Bryan's best keep out tools, because how often have you been playing Bryan and you catch someone coming in with a 3+4 normal hit and you're like, man, I wish I got a counter hit. Well, with this move you don't need a counter hit. this is, you know, it's 3 plus 4 is 18 frames. This is 17. Obviously, the sidestep makes it a little bit slower, but just think about all those times that you hit someone coming in with a 3 plus 4. You could have clapped them with a sidestep 1 a majority of the time and gotten a launch. So I already kind of talked about the applications of this move. It's, you know, really good keep out tool. Good panic button. Decent, you know, for movement as well. It does have pretty good tracking. But yeah, so we talked about back 3, down 4, down 4, down back 2, and sidestep 1. I think these are the 5 most underrated Bryan moves that a lot of people aren't using. So hopefully you came out of this learning something, and hopefully you start adding these moves to your arsenal. Let me know if you guys have any questions or any videos that you'd like to see in the future. But until then, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.